Welcome, everyone, to Trend Talks Life. I am your host, Erin Tomie. Today, we're talking to Trend Micro Customer Success Team Lead, Nick Meyer. Nick, how are you doing today?
Doing quite all right for a Wednesday.
Glad to hear it. Well, thank you for joining me on Trend Talks Life. And I would love to just start with you sharing a bit about your role here at Trend Micro.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am, as you mentioned already, the customer success team lead. And what that realistically means is that I serve both as a customer success engineer at Trend, and I also lead a small team of other customer success engineers in assisting customers basically with everything. We support them from a technical perspective, so we are full engineers. And a lot of our job has to do with onboardings, health checks, best practices, migrations, and realistically anything else in between. That doesn't necessarily fall into one of those categories.
So you touched on it a little bit in your intro there. To give a bit more background and detail, and for those who might not be as familiar with customer success. So what does customer success really mean at Trend Micro? What does your day-to-day look like?
So customer success at Trend Micro realistically means building customer advocacy. And what I mean by that is that in many situations where we build trust with our customer base, we become the advocates that they need to talk to when they don't necessarily want to have a sales conversation. I can say from my experience that I tend to be the first one brought in a lot of IR situations. I am the first one to ask questions when they don't necessarily want to open a full-blown support case. And sometimes it's just ad hoc meetings to help them feel more confident with the tools that Trend Micro provides. So they come to us and they want to be able to trust us to have their best interest at heart, and that's exactly what we end up accomplishing. We've had a lot of iterations of customer success at Trend Micro, but this has probably been the most successful version of that we've dealt with.
What does it mean for a customer to truly be successful? Because I know that trying to say, oh, successful is they never have any issues ever. And I'm not sure that's entirely realistic or reality. So what is your team's definition of a successful customer?
Our definitions of a successful customer is someone who feels confident. You're absolutely right. We're never going to avoid issues. We can knock on wood all we want. We can hope and we can pray, but there's no guarantees in IT, as I like to say. And there will be something that goes wrong. And really, at the end of the day, what the customer success team is here to do is to smooth out that process, make it not feel jarring, make it not feel like the customer is yelling into the void and there's nobody listening, because we want to be there to listen and to be able to provide troubleshooting and assistance in navigating the other internal mechanisms of Trend, such as our customer support, and be able to feel like they're, getting results at the end of the day.
A question that I ask quite a few trenders who've been here, especially quite a number of years, and you've been here about 6 years now, since 2019. And especially as someone who works very closely with customers, I love asking, what are the changes that you have seen? So when you started working with customers a few years ago, in terms of customer challenges or things that they're really focused on or goals they have you noticed any major differences in how you've worked with them or anything in that realm?
I would say an increase in complexity would be my biggest point for a lot of what customers want to deal with. They're less likely to kind of jump on the first thing that you want to present to them. They need to have trust built first and foremost, because their problems are no longer simple problems. This isn't the 90s, the early 2000s, where environments are fairly straightforward with complexities from a technology perspective, whether that be cloud, the introduction of tons of third-party tools into most environments, and just unfortunately not enough people being able to work on these things inside of companies. They require a lot more assistance and understanding of their environment, which is something that we can provide through things like our Vision One platform and the ability to see, I'm not a big fan of this word, but the shadow IT that they're often dealing with. I tend to find some of the best conversations I have are with sysadmins, which are they're not traditionally security people, but they are the people who deal with the most problems, and we can provide them the most solutions.
I'd love to go back a little bit, and I know you didn't start in a customer success role. How did you end up on the customer success team? I know your background is I know you're quite technical. You're a very smart guy. How did you come to be in this role at Trend?
So that is a wild and crazy journey. I'll tell you what. So I started at Trend in our general markets internship. So what that essentially was a chance for people who weren't in tech, who weren't really in any sort of existing sales organization, who may have had degrees that really didn't lend themselves to joining jobs in the job market as well as they could have. And it provided us the on-the-job skills that we needed to know in order to provide for a sales position. So this was originally a sales program. However, unfortunately, COVID hit, and I was one of the last classes of these salespeople to be hired on. And when that happened, there was a lot more opportunities within Trend. And so I took a first opportunity I could see, and I joined our customer support team for a specific product that we used to have called Cloud Conformity. When I was on that support team, there was another opportunity that was presented to me, and I then jumped over to join our customer success team at the time for conformity again still, but for customer success. From there, it just became more and more technical, and now I find myself here on our customer success team for basically every product that Trend has to provide.
So now that you've been on the team for a few years, what is your favorite part of your job?
Honestly, it's the relationship building. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite piece is being able to jump on a call with our customers and have 10 to 15 minutes of it being spent just talking about each other's lives, asking how the kids are, how everything is going with them personally, with the company in general, and then eventually being able to dive into some deeper technical conversations and help solve a few problems that they're having that day. Make their day a little bit better and a little less difficult.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate speaking with you, and I certainly appreciated chatting with you today. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining me on Trend Talks Life, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too, Erin. You too.